And we
All
are
right.
live! Hi,
Woo!
So the
everyone!
broadcast is live.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tinette Cortez, and I have missed you for so long. My gosh. Hi, Ivy. Hi, Alan. How are you guys?
Doing
Hi,
well
ayan.
after that hour
Yeah.
long webcast we had, no? So this is
Hold on,
officially the
I'm
behind the
sharing.
scenes, right?
Yep.
So
Well,
this is like decompressing after, right?
yeah.
And
So,
just talking
guys,
about stuff.
just wanted to let you know that I haven't been on my FB Live stuff
Mm.
since I think December of 2020. And I think this is just, hold on. Why does it say, why is it private? It should be public, right? Hold on.
Yeah.
No, it's
Let's,
okay. I can see it, I
can
think.
you see it? Okay. All right.
Yes.
Anyway, so how are you guys? This is not an official, by the way, guys, this is not an official Consult Asia podcast. This is just a Consult Asia after party because we just finished our podcast with Ivy. Consult
ConsultAsia Global
Asia.
North Luzon.
So tonight I invited two of my favorite people in the world, Ivy and Alan. Say hello, guys. Hi.
Hi.
This
Hi
is
to all
Ivy,
of Miss
Hello.
Tinette's
and
friends
and
and
this is
fans.
Alan. And what
Yep.
we want to do tonight is, first of all, to decompress because we're all so tired after a long day. I've only had about 3.5 hours of sleep, and Alan has never slept for like 3 days and
No. I slept for hours.
2 hours.
For hours. Or
Okay,
else I wouldn't be like this. No, I would be like,
yeah. You guys, you know what? I really missed having this FB Live because last year I had it every Saturday. So, what is our topic for
mm,
tonight? The first thing that I want to talk about is Ivy's love life. Ivy. So, you
I
didn't see
think I'm
that
having a
coming,
very bad
right?
signal. I didn't see that
Yes.
coming. I think I
No,
am
no.
having a very
but
bad signal. Bye.
So, guys, okay. Here's
But
here's
your
my
love life now
question.
is okay, right, Ivy? Ivy, right? Your love life is now
I
all good
I
and
have the
right?
right against self-incrimination.
I mean, we're
Okay,
both
so
with our partners, right? And somebody else here, I think, is looking for a partner, right, Ivy? So maybe we should be
who
talking about somebody else's love life.
looking for a partner? That should be yeah, I'm looking
That's
for a boxing partner.
how about
You are
walking partner.
so you are so bad, Alan. Okay, so guys,
That's
anyway,
so
I just wanted.
unfiltered.
So I'm see. We have. I personally am so happy to be with Alan and Ivy tonight because Alan and Ivy are my partners in crime. We have been working on several projects. We have been working so hard, and now, we were actually which page were we with? Consult Asia North Luzon
Global,
North
page.
yes,
Luzon. Yep.
global ConsultAsia Global North Luzon. Sorry,
But
I'm so formal.
but
ConsultAsia
since
Global North Luzon.
no, seriously, since December, I haven't done this. So this is like a breath of fresh air for me. I'm so happy to be with you guys. So, Ivy, first question. What is
Oh,
your
there's a
secret?
question.
What is your secret to happiness?
Um, can I say facial wash? Like I have been indulging myself in facial wash for like 3 times a day. that explains that explains my skin these days.
Okay, and how
So that
about you,
makes me
Alan?
happy.
How about you, Alan? Good. Thanks, Ivy. How about you, Alan?
Being with the family, I mean, there are drawbacks to being locked down and all, but at least time with the family. So, yeah, that's the one. Mabiglang serious, no?
Wow, are
So
you
that's the one.
serious?
Su- Super serious. OMG.
No, seriously, guys, because we're all so stressed, I really want to talk about Ivy's love life. What your ideas, and Alan's as well, what your ideas are when it comes to love. So, guys, how do you define love? Alan,
Slumbook days to
Alan,
Slum,
how do you
slumbook
how do
days
you
to
Slumbook.
guys
bigla. Slumbook yung back way then you have to
So,
answer.
sorry,
Define
I
love.
don't have that for
What
my
is your
generation.
crush?
No, but
Yeah, I know.
seriously,
It's my
oops.
generation.
No,
But
I'm kidding.
seriously, but
No, we have
seriously,
that. We
guys.
have that Slumbook.
No, but
Yeah,
seriously,
slumbook.
seriously, come on. How do you define love, or how do you know if you're in love? Guys, we've all had a long day. We were working all day, so guys, can we talk about something that interests everyone?
Love.
Okay.
Huh. Love is, I don't know. Love is something so complicated. I think
Yeah.
I've always seen it that way. Like it's so hard to
Mm-hmm.
explain. You just
Mm-hmm.
know, you just know that you love a person without even having to have an explanation about it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Wow, that's so cerebral, dude.
You're so
Okay.
cerebral again. Oh my gosh.
So that's such an
I
intellectual
remember our
answer. I can't take
conversation
it.
in Shangri-La.
I can't take
Sorry.
that. I could, my brain's just not able to take that. But anyway, okay. How about you, Alan? What's
There
love
are
for
three
you?
ways to define love.
What's love for you?
But there's a variety of threads you can follow, right? I mean, uh,
Why are
there's
you so
the
formal?
there's the Greek philosophy. There's the Greek philosophy thread, right? There's the scriptural thread, and
Hmm.
there's the
Oh
linguistic
my
thread.
God,
That's
Father
them, no?
Alan, is that you?
So, yeah. So Father Alan is back in the house. So
Jeez.
well, well, uh, one of the best definitions I've seen. I mean, modern way of defining it. I saw from this book. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
you're familiar with that particular line. Yung they say love is a verb. It's not a noun.
Mm-hmm.
No, love is a
Yeah,
verb.
I've
It's not
heard.
a noun.
Okay.
It's it it's not the feeling. That's the noun, but it's the decision.
Mm-hmm.
Like what Ivy mentioned, it's the
Yeah.
decision na you choose to be with somebody,
Okay.
and then you try. Uh, Another way of putting it, hindi daw you looking for Mr. Right or Miss Right. It's being
Okay.
Mr. or Miss Right. No? So
Right.
which brings us to the Greek philosophy thread, no?
Wow, Greek
About I don't
mythology,
know
Greek philosophy. Ivy, cheers to that.
philosophy.
Cheers, cheers.
Is it Greek
Go ahead.
mythology or Greek philosophy,
Philosophy.
Alan? Oh, okay.
Greek philosophy. So there is the eros,
Mm-hmm.
uh philein,
Mm-hmm.
there's other two. But then the last one is agape, the sacrificial love. There are four, I
Yeah, the
forgot it.
different types of there's
Oo, di
five.
ba? There are four. Oh, no, five pa nga
Five.
pala. Okay, so ganun. So alam ko lang is eros, philia. There's there's the so-called erotic love, the feeling, and
Mm-hmm.
then the
There's
brotherly
tough
love,
love.
and then the sacrificial love. No, so yun yung apat. So which
Mm-hmm.
brings us to the scriptural thread. Ito na, ha? Ito na si Father
Mm-hmm.
Al.
Oh my
So
God. You
yung
are so,
yung
so intelligent. Okay.
no. Yung First Corinthians chapter 13, alam niyo yan, yung love
Love
is
is
Mm-hmm.
ganyan.
patient, love is kind, love.
Ah,
Mm-hmm.
so para bang tying it all up together. Tying those
Mm-hmm.
three threads together na you decide to be in love with somebody, diba? So when you
Mm-hmm.
decide to be in love with somebody, you work it out, di ba? You work it out.
Okay.
Na even when the feelings have gone away, it goes to the agape type na yung sacrificial.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of serve each other na to the point na sabi nga nila na medyo OA pakinggan.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit cheesy, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
but you take away the word love in First Corinthians 13 and you put your name. So instead of
Yeah.
saying love is patient, love is kind, you say Ivy is patient, Ivy is kind. Ivy doesn't keep a
Wow.
record of wrongs and all
Oh.
that.
Love
So for me,
that.
that's what love
I
is,
love
right?
it.
So that's the love as a verb,
Aw.
love as agape. So you fell in
Learn
love with
something new.
somebody and you decide to stick it out with that someone, di ba?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the beauty is when you grow old together, namin, So so you start to sag together, you start to widen, you
Oh
start
my
to get all wrinkly and everything. Yeah, but you still
Kahit
stick it
maputi na
out,
ang
di
buhok ko.
ba? So,
Wait, Alan,
yeah,
I've been
kahit
hold
nakulubot ng
on.
mukha ko and all that, di ba? Ganun yun.
Alan, sorry, but I've been getting private messages kasi from my
Ah,
friends. They don't want to type it dun sa sa wall. Hindi dun sila
mm.
naniniwala sa'yo. Kasi that's like,
Well,
bibihira yan. Like, I mean, you're one of a kind. But in reality, it
no,
doesn't work that
no, there are
way.
people.
Is that true, Ivy? Is that true? Balik sa'yo, Ivy.
Yeah, but I would definitely agree. I don't know. You keep on telling me that I'm cerebral. I think that's pretty much it for me. Anyway, scientifically, a
Mhm.
feeling comes from the brain. It's from the hypothalamus, right? So
Yeah, so teka na,
technically,
nag-neuroscience na.
Ano ba yan? Sumasakit ang ulo ko sa
technically,
inyong
it's coming from
dalawa.
the brain, not from the
Ambot sa
heart.
imo.
So,
Okay. Okay, here's
so
my question. How do you
yeah.
know it's the right one? It's the right person for
You never
you?
know.
Like, knocks
Yeah.
talaga lang, ah. You never
You never
know.
know.
Yeah. No, kasi, the reason why I say that, I remember kasi when I got married, okay, when I got married,
Mm. Okay.
the sermon was this kasi, and this is where I'm coming from. Siyempre, when I courted my wife, di ba siyempre, I love her. I mean, you wouldn't want to get married to somebody you didn't love, di ba?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody you don't
Right.
want to to spend the
True.
rest of your life with, di ba? It's just that sometimes it doesn't work out for some people, and therefore people separate, and maybe it's right
Mm-hmm.
for them. No, I'm not to judge, di ba? Kasi why be miserable together nga naman?
Mm-hmm.
You try to work it out, it just doesn't work out, and that's fine. No? But that particular sermon kasi nung nag-officiate sa amin, struck a chord with me, no? Ang sabi lang, and this is gonna sound cheesy, or maybe if you don't believe in the Judeo-Christian tradition, this will be like ugh, no, and all that. And that's fine. I respect, no? I respect your opinion. But the thing is, sabi niya ganito lang, be careful about the basis of your love, about marrying, no? Sabi niya,
Mm-hmm.
number one, it's never compatibility. And then what struck
Okay.
me is this:
So what is it then?
the mini,
So,
the minister said, the minister said,
Naging
there will always
interesado
be
eh.
somebody, there will always be somebody more compatible with you, no,
Mm.
compared to your spouse. What
oh,
do you
Hang
mean?
on, hold, hold,
interesting.
hold,
What do you
hold,
mean?
hold, hold, hold on, Alan. Guys, if you're
Oh,
watching this episode, can you please type in the comment section if you agree with Alan or not? Na hindi daw
Can
with
can
the
I
compatibility.
type?
minister,
Because,
with the
just a
minister,
second.
not with me.
No, no, this is
Oh,
recorded. Because tama yan sinasabi mo. Guys, for the married couples out there, if you're watching, do you agree with Mr. Alan Alice, who's in Sweden right now?
kasi look,
Um,
di ba? Di ba?
Grabe na naman yung tao.
okay.
I'm eating Swedish meatballs right now.
Kaya nga
Anyway,
behind the scenes
so
eh. Okay.
so
Agree ba
so what
kayo,
the
guys?
minister said nga, what the minister struck a chord with me. No? Sabi niya, there will always be somebody more compatible with you, physically, emotionally, intellectually. And in
Mm-hmm.
this particular generation, I've heard of the phrase work husband or work wife.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who's very close to you in the workplace. And that's why it's very dangerous, di ba, when you start using work husband or work wife. Parang, what do you mean? No? So,
Mm.
palaging merong ganun
That means
ko-compatible. O, sige, married life lang halimbawa. O sabihin natin, some, ang kanilang drive mas malakas, some hindi. Magano'n talaga mga, you won't know until you get married eh. Di
Oh
ba? And that's why
dear.
some people
Right.
justify it with living in with it. No? So that's fine. So, and there will be some who will be more willing to listen to what you're saying, no
Mm-hmm.
matter how
Yeah.
stupid it gets. Now your spouse might say, hey, shut up. No, what you're talking nonsense. So, ganun siya eh. There will be somebody more compatible with you. Kaya nga sabi ko, I gave the preamble. If you're not of the Judeo-Christian tradition, you're not a believer, you may shush this away and that's fine. Kasi sabi nga
Yeah.
niya, that's why, putting God in the relationship. Because, what do you
Mm-hmm.
mean by that? If you believe that God instituted marriage na forever siya, and you're a Christian, whether Protestant
Mm-hmm.
or Catholic or whatever tradition you are in, you will try to work at it because you entered
Mm-hmm.
into the relationship together. Di ba?
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm not saying pag binubugbog ka na, you stick, that's a totally different story. But what I'm
Agree.
saying is incompatibilities. Di ba? Hindi kayo
Mm-hmm.
magkasundo.
What about
Di ba?
abuse? What about
Like,
domestic abuse?
well, that's different.
Hindi lang physical abuse, but emotional, psychological
Yeah,
abuse.
emotional abuse. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, that's different,
What the?
syempre. I mean, that's
Mhm.
why that's why you have to go to the proper party, parents, ninong, ninang, even psychologists and all that. Pero ako
Mhm.
kasi, and this is where some Christians might challenge me. There are certain for me certain occasions na baka maaring it's better na hindi na. Di
Yeah.
ba? I mean, look, binubugbog na yung wife tsaka kids. Huwag mo nagpipilitin na. I mean, that's
Mhm.
totally a different
Or the
story for me.
husband,
Pero yun,
binubugbog the husband.
yeah, pwede ganun rin.
That's
Meron naman
possible.
nangyayari yun, di ba?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
Possible also. Pero what I'm talking about is yung mga incompatibilities ba? Like, halimbawa,
Mhm.
yung husband, medyo may pagkaburara. Alam mo, in a sense, na hindi siya very orderly. But
Mhm.
your wife is bordering on being OC na.
Right.
There are certain things you can work out kasi. Or one is more spontaneous versus one who is more planned lahat.
Yeah.
So these things, and then you start to become more compatible with someone, nakikita mo, uy, oh, mas match kami. So ibig sabihin nun, iwanan mo na. Di ba? Parang kanina pa, magka-career shift ka na ba? Di ba?
Yeah.
So, so,
Okay.
so di ba? So,
Okay.
so yun ibig sabihin
Yeah.
na it's a decision. It's a decision.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for that, Mr. Alas. Before we continue, I'd like to say hello to those who are watching. Easy, Dizon, hello, Easy, nice to see you. And Jocelyn, hi, Miss Pen, straight from Santa Rosa, Laguna. And of course, I'd like to say hello to Miss Emily Morkgate. And of course, to my dear friend Miroslav Stresniak from Croatia. So thank you guys for watching. So Alan, oh sorry, Ivy, what is your take on um, settling? You know, like okay, you're already with this partner, with this person, and just because you were already married for several years and you can't get out, you're not happy. What are you gonna do? And the husband or the wife does not want to exert some effort to make things work. What are you gonna do? Any advice?
Okay,
Just
I
a
think
phone
I'm
in
gonna have
question.
I think I'm gonna have opposing comments on this, but
Mm-hmm.
personally personally, and most people know me for this, and you guys know
Mm-hmm.
me for this. I'm very assertive when it comes to relationships, and
Mm-hmm.
from from the very start, I actually tell what I want and what I don't want in the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
For example, this is I also became a guest in answering this question. Should you actually check your partner's phone? So
Mm-hmm.
that's a very simple thing, like
Mm-hmm.
check or not to check. But from the onset of the relationship, I already set boundaries. And so obviously, if those boundaries, for example, are crossed, or maybe during the course of the relationship the other person doesn't want to exert effort anymore, I'll do my best to like compromise and stuff like that, maybe meet halfway or whatever. We'll try um using all the negotiation skills that I've learned from the consultants of ConsultAsia. You know,
Control
this is
Asia.
you know, this kind of strategies that I always try. I always use in my personal life. So the trainings
Mm-hmm.
that we actually have in ConsultAsia, we're not only using it at work, but we're also using it in our personal lives. So that's how much we've embraced the teachings that we actually teach. So anyway, so yeah. So for me, if because relationships are two ways, so just in case the other person doesn't want to work it out, I think,
Mm-hmm.
well, personally, if I'm the one in the relationship and the other one doesn't want to work it out, maybe I'll stick for a little bit. A little bit may mean 1 to 2 years, and then if nothing changes, maybe it's time to quit, because I deserve to be happy too,
Shift
like everybody
careers.
else deserves to be happy, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like I know a lot of
Exactly.
people who stay because of
Exactly.
their kids, right? Who stay because of their kids, even if there's already abuses, there are already so many moments that they've what's this that they're already emotionally or mentally suffering, and still they don't want to leave their relationship because of the kids. But for me, coming from a relationship, I mean, coming from a family, I came from a matriarchal family. I don't really, well, I don't support broken marriages. Okay, that's to set things straight. But I do support healthy marriages. And if you are in an unhealthy marriage, I don't think you should stay. I mean, in general, even if you have like 500 kids with you, okay, just to
Mm-hmm.
exaggerate the thing.
Wow.
Um, okay, just in case you have kids, I think your kid will not want you to be in an unhappy relationship just because of them. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the things I want to clarify, because I can hear
Yeah.
a lot of women or even men who are staying in a relationship even if they're not happy in it anymore, because we have kids and stuff. Do you think one day your kids will be happy listening to their parents quarrel every
Mm-hmm.
day because they just want to have a happy, or I mean, they just want to have a complete family? So I think that's not a good way, or that's not a good reason to
Mm-hmm.
stay in a relationship. You stay in a relationship because you're happy in it, not because of anything else. So
Go
yeah.
girl. Wow. Woo. Wow, guys, please
I'm all
comment
for
down
empowerment.
below. Absolutely. Okay. Hi, John. Good evening, Tita Tanat. Hello there. What you said is so powerful, Ivy. And, if you're already in an abusive relationship, whether it's physical, psychological, or emotional, I don't know, um, just get out, as you said, right? Why settle? Why stick around
Yeah,
when you're not happy anymore? So,
yeah, I've heard this. Like, it's easier said than done. That's true. But, you'll always find a reason to stay if you want to stay, but you'll always find a reason to go if you want to go. So choose your hard, girl. Choose your hard. Because
right.
staying is hard, but leaving is also hard. So choose your hard.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of hard do you wish to pursue? Okay.
All right.
So I think that
Okay, well
you're
said.
laughing.
And this
Yeah,
question is
diba? Choose your
no,
hard.
but
And then
guys,
choose your hard. Okay.
this question is actually for both of you. Alan, what do you think, or how would you define psychological or emotional abuse? Let's say there's no physical harm being done. What you're
Well,
you're you're very knowledgeable about these things. I mean, you're a professional um counselor, so
what? No, I'm the professional coach. No, when your person, when your, well, quote unquote, when your person is being violated already, I mean, that's abuse, right?
yeah.
Like, like, obviously, when it's physical abuse, that's clear cut. And, you
Yeah,
get battered,
Yeah.
right? So that's
exactly,
clear cut.
exactly.
But psychological, when you are always being minimized, looked down upon, those are forms of abuse already,
Mm-hmm.
whether you be the husband or the wife.
Yeah.
So, so those are forms of abuse, or or when you're emotionally being blackmailed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the case of the woman,
Mm-hmm.
women sometimes use their tears as weapons. In the
Mm-hmm.
case of guys, it's the pride factor
Yeah.
which they use also as weapons. Whenever this come into play, then that's abuse, especially if it's a pattern already. If it's once or twice, it may be indicative already that you're just being hurt by the partner. But if it comes a pattern of being used as a means to manipulate
Mm-hmm.
the spouse, then that's abuse already. No? So as Ivy mentioned, you try to go for communication, right? You try to fix it first
Yeah.
between
Yeah.
the two of you. Then after that, then maybe bring in your ninongs or ninas or parents, or if you're not comfortable with that, even try to go for professional help.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
as Ivy mentioned, there are certain cases where it's not workable anymore. So
Mm-hmm.
again, even if I adhere to the Judeo-Christian tradition, I believe that there are certain reasons why you should leave the union, so to speak. And abuse could be
Mm-hmm.
one of
Right.
the reasons for me.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well said. What about you, Ivy? What's emotional and psychological abuse for
Well,
you?
anything that causes you suffering
Mm-hmm.
internally. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty much it. I think that's the definition of psychological and emotional abuse. Anything that causes you mental or emotional
Pain,
suffering.
hurt.
Yeah.
What
Not
what
Yeah.
would be
necessarily
your
pain.
but guys,
Not
what would be
necessarily
your
pain, but
advice? Yeah.
mhm.
No, sorry, go ahead. There's
Because
a
remember what
delay.
you, because uh, remember Ivy, what the wise man said, no, suffering leads to what, to anger, anger leads
Enlightenment.
to hatred, hatred leads to the dark side, di ba? Tama? Remember that line
Ah.
I don't know
from
which
from
So,
movie is this.
from Star
okay.
Wars, from Star
No,
Wars.
sorry, I don't watch Star Wars. Sorry, sorry.
So,
I'm one of
okay.
those 1% who don't watch Star Wars.
Hang on, guys. Just a second before we continue. I'd like to read some of the comments. From John, watching from Pasig, Jong Tal and kids, and Danielle Katigbak Jose. Don Daniel says, sending you guys good vibes. And of course, Ivy Calderon says, join our conversation. So I'm just reading the comments here. So let me show you. So there you go, guys. As you can see, and of course, our Brothers Burger president, DJ, and of course,
Hello.
John is watching. And
Hello.
Mira from Europe again. I wish we can invite everyone, but we just thought of this last minute. And of course, our ever beautiful Jocelyn and Izzy. All right. So going back, how do you think can the abused one take the first step into healing? What should she or he do, Ivy?
First and foremost, there must be
Miss
acceptance.
Universe question.
Thank you so much for that wonderful question. Let me
I
answer
thank
that by
you.
saying,
How do you?
let me answer that question. Thank you so much. Okay, let me
Oh my god! Like
Valley
I'm
girl ko
so
biglaan.
shocked. What am I gonna
Parang Valley girl
do?
na.
Arthur. Okay, go.
Okay, first and foremost, abuse people who are suffering from abuse do not necessarily accept that they are
Mhm.
actually experiencing them, especially women,
Mhm.
because I'm very passionate about um women empowerment. And so to be able to empower one, you have to know what your strengths and weaknesses are. Unfortunately, for women, or even for men, or even for anyone, so
Mhm.
hashtag gender equality, for anyone to be able to step out of the dark, you must
Mhm.
first see that you're in the dark, because you have to
Yeah.
recognize that you are suffering from something, right? And most of
Right.
the time, people don't actually know that they are suffering abuse. They think that just because they're in a relationship, it's kind of hard for them to actually figure out that, hey, this is not normal anymore, unless
Mhm.
otherwise they actually
Mhm.
talk to someone.
Yeah.
And yeah, they actually talk to someone and tell, this is what's happening in my relationship. And that's
Mhm.
the only time that, oh, that's not normal. For if there's
Mhm.
someone else who's like aware that
Mhm.
you're not in a normal relationship, that's the time that they raise awareness. But most of the time, the people who are suffering from abuse,
Mhm.
they're not really aware, and at the same time they
Yeah.
don't really
Mhm.
want to accept it, even if a lot of people are already telling them that you're in an unhealthy relationship. So
Or
yeah,
sometimes they
so
tend to
the
blame
first,
themselves too, right? They tend to
yeah,
blame
yeah,
themselves that the
yeah,
reason why they're in that abusive relationship is because they probably did something in the past or they're this or that,
yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
which is not good as well, but that's a
Mm-hmm.
normal feeling or behavior that the people who are going
Mm-hmm.
through abuse are actually feeling. So they tend to blame themselves, like, I deserve
Mm-hmm.
this because I did that, and so on and so forth.
Exactly. Exactly. Alan, what do you think? What would be some of the signs that a person is actually an abusive person? Like whether it's the wife or the husband. And again, I'm not talking about physical abuse because, as you said earlier, physical abuse is just so
Again,
obvious, right? But what about emotional, psychological abuse?
again, it's the converse of what we were discussing earlier. No?
Mm-hmm.
So at the risk of sounding cerebral again, no?
Mm-hmm.
The abusive person is really more of the win lose mindset, right? I mean,
Mm.
he or
Yeah.
she should
Yep.
benefit all the time, and the
Mm-hmm.
problem is he or she benefits all the time, whether they are not whether the other party loses or not, but the other party has to lose. That's the
Mm-hmm.
scary part about the win-lose mentality, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm supposed to be happy, at your expense,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm supposed to be happy at your
At your
expense. So
expense,
so that's the
exactly.
yeah, at the expense of the spouse. So
Yeah.
it's like you're here to make me happy. So that's win lose. That's basically abusive. So so it's like if I were to talk to my spouse, it's like your sole purpose in life is to validate me to make me happy. So that's
Mm-hmm.
the primary sign of what an abusive person is for me anyway, no? So whether
What
it
about
be
constant?
emotion.
Yeah, but what about constant rejection, for example? Because like what you're saying is somebody's actually trying to win over somebody, and that's one. What about
Mm.
complete withdrawal? Let's say you're married
Yeah,
to, person A is married to person B, and person B is constantly rejecting or putting down this person.
yeah, putting down. So even if somebody rejects the other party, it's not because they reject the other party, so the other party goes away. It's a perverse relationship because the one rejecting knows that the other party will not leave but will pursue him or
Mm-hmm.
her. That's how it becomes abusive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kasi if I, for instance, would reject my wife and then my wife just goes away and walks out of me, then I was not abusive in the first place. I made a mistake, right? Abusive
Mm-hmm.
relationships are instances where I, for instance, know that my wife is so needy to the point that even if I reject or push them away, I am
Mm-hmm.
sure they would still follow me.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the pleasure comes into play, right? I mean, if I were to reject
Okay.
somebody and that somebody turns away, that's not pleasurable for me. So notice
Mm-hmm.
even in abusive relationship, even if the other party refuses or rejects the other, notice it's because he or she knows that the other party will not walk away, but is so
Mm-hmm.
needy
Mm-hmm.
that negative attention is better than no attention at all.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it
Okay.
means being hurt physically or being shouted at,
Mm-hmm.
the the abuser knows that the way the abused minds work is that better negative attention than no attention at all. Something like that.
Mm-hmm. Why do people accept this, or why do the abused settle? Why do they allow this to happen? And as Ivy said earlier, sometimes people just don't know that they're being abused. But why do they settle? Why do they stay? Why can't they just take that step?
Because for me, for whatever reason, they've adopted the lose win mentality,
That it's okay for
right?
them to lose, and that they deserve
And
it.
the other
Does this have
person wins
something to do?
because I
Th-
care for the person, I love the person. So
Mhm.
whatever she wants,
Yeah.
so I'm here
Okay.
to be of service to you.
What about you,
A
Ivy? Does this
real
have some?
relationship is give and take, right?
No, that's true. That's true. But Ivy, what do you think from a woman's point of view? Does this have something to do with self love or self esteem as well?
I'm not sure about what to answer how to answer that question, but from
Mm-hmm.
like a logical perspective, maybe they
Mm-hmm.
don't know any better. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you haven't been really out there, like, for example, all you do is work and home, or you don't have
Mm-hmm.
any other organizations that you're into, or
Mm-hmm.
you don't you don't have any other worlds aside from home and work, so
Mm-hmm.
you don't really see that there are better things out there. And most of the
Mm-hmm.
time, again, culturally speaking, we I'm not criticizing our culture, because that's, of course,
Mm-hmm.
that's our culture. But one of the things that I have observed in the Filipino culture is we're
Mm-hmm.
overbearing. Is that the right word? We tend to,
Mm-hmm.
like, okay na yan, because, kung anong nandyan, tiyagain mo na. So,
Right.
kasi nandyan ka na, things like that. So, I'm not sure how to put it in English because it's a cultural thing. So,
Right.
that's how we were trained, maybe, or that's how we grew up, maybe, or that's how the
Mm-hmm.
community perceives. And so we kind of assimilate all these things, and then we forget that it's already the 21st century, that we actually have
Mm-hmm.
a choice to leave, that we can actually be liberated from this bondage, because I call it bondage because it's something that most people cannot get out of, because they feel that
Mm-hmm.
they don't have any other choice. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe they're staying because that's exactly what they feel. They don't know that
Mm-hmm.
there's a better choice, and they feel like
Yeah.
they don't have a choice at all. So
Yeah.
I think
No, right.
if you're watching
Agree.
this, and if you're going
Mm-hmm.
through a tough time, if you're emotionally or mentally suffering, maybe it's about time to ask yourself if you really
Mm-hmm.
deserve to be in the relationship. Because you know what? I think this is what people fail to understand. If you are staying in an abusive relationship, you are doing harm to the other person as well, because you're enabling that
Yeah,
behavior. Like you
exactly.
are you are also
Exactly.
contributing to him or her being abusive, because you
Mm-hmm.
are there, you're
Enabling. Yeah.
staying, you're enabling the person, and that's a sin. If you really love a person, this is what I
Mm-hmm.
realized over the years. I've already been in the world for 55 years. This is what I realized, like, because we're
Yeah.
talking about love, right? This is what I
Right.
realized. um Over the years I realized that love, when you really love a person, you will let that person be in his best possible be in his or her best possible state. And if that
Exactly.
person is not in his or her best possible state, you're not the right person to be with that person,
Mm-hmm.
because
Exactly.
he or she doesn't deserve to be that person as well, because maybe that person is also good, but since you're
Mm-hmm.
there, you're allowing the abuse to happen, then maybe you're the reason why he's
Mm-hmm.
also being abusive, because you're enabling the
Exactly.
behavior. So I think that's
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm talking too much, but I think you
No,
pretty much got the idea.
I
That
absolutely agree
we
with
fail to
you.
right? That we fail to understand that, or we fail
Mm-hmm.
to see that part. We always
Mm-hmm.
blame the abuser, but we also don't look at the other side. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
we're also enabling the abusive behavior. 'Di ba yung
The
sabi nila?
action of the action of the abuser is causing the problem, but your inaction is also causing the problem. If
Yes,
you by
exactly.
without doing anything, you're also
Mm-hmm.
causing it.
Yes.
And before you continue, Ivy, my friend here, Sharon, says it's codependency issues, and it's true. Alan,
Yes.
remember, you know this. Two, and if you're dependent, one independent person marries another dependent person, then it's codependency. Whereas,
Mm-hmm.
like, you know this, Al, you teach this, right? So, what's important is you have to be
Yeah.
interdependent, all right?
Yeah.
Because if
Yeah.
you're codependent,
Uh,
then obviously it's going to be abusive at some point. So Ivy was
yeah.
actually making a very strong and positive point here that, sometimes the abuse enables the whole situation. And I think, how do you, I guess my question here is, how do you get out of that vicious cycle? I mean, what if nobody calls your attention? What if you're just there suffering silently? What's the first step?
Acceptance. I will say that again.
Mhm. Yeah.
Acceptance and raising an awareness. I
Mhm.
think it's really important, because I've seen so many people who are suffering from abuse, but they're quiet about it. I also
Mhm.
tell this to my friends, because my friends got used to just approaching me when they have problems. But I always tell them this: you don't need my advice, because you already know what to do. It's just that
Right.
you're scared of the consequences of the
Mhm.
decisions in your head. But
Mhm.
basically, most of the time we turn to someone because we want our decisions in our minds to be validated
Mhm.
by another person. And so, for
Mhm.
example, if I say that this is what you should be doing, and that answer does not match what's in your head, for example, then you will turn to Alan, for example, for another
Mhm.
opinion. And then you will
Yeah.
just keep on finding people to ask for advice from. But basically, you already know. I mean, as a person, we always have that compass. I mean, you've always taught me this, Miss Tinette, about compass.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know what's right or wrong. We know that we have an internal compass that we actually follow. And even though nobody's telling you what's wrong or right, I mean, inside you that this is what you're going through, and this is not right. It's just that,
Mhm.
again, you're scared to get out of it. And again, we're not
Exactly.
we're we're not victim blaming here. It's just that we have
Mhm.
to raise an awareness that um we can stop being the victim. We can
Yeah.
stop that victim
Absolutely.
mentality.
Exactly. Okay. Well
Mhm.
said. So, guys, okay, here's another one. Here's another question. Which is more important for you, security or freedom? And why? Alan, what about you?
Actually, freedom counts more. But then again, I define freedom a bit differently than
Mhm.
most would. No?
Yeah.
So that's why I would mention freedom more than security. Because we will never be entirely secure, even when we talk about relationships. We will
Mhm.
never be entirely secure or sure about the other party.
Mhm.
It's a give and take. You work at it together. No? Freedom is freedom. I relate to what Ivy mentioned earlier, that the freedom is allowing the person to become the best version they could be.
Mhm.
So so in a relationship, we're supposed to help each other become the best version of
Mhm.
ourselves we can become. That is supposed
Yeah.
to be the case, right?
Mhm.
So that's recognizing the value in the other person. But that will begin with us also recognizing the value in ourselves, right? And
Mhm.
I guess that's where sometimes the codependency starts. We for whatever reason, whether sociological or historical, whatever, psychological,
Mhm.
abused people are people who have not learned to value themselves. No, they
Yes.
forget
Yes.
they for, they forget they are children of God. They are creatures of the universe. They
Mhm.
have intrinsic value, right? And you may not be the most beautiful, the most handsome, but the fact that you exist, you are unique. You are the only one in the world, and you have value. So the moment you lose sight of that, then you become dependent. That's why I said one of the most dangerous lines in the world is in the movie Jerry Maguire. You complete me, di ba?
Yeah.
Remember that line? You complete
How
me.
do you feel about
And
that
I mentioned,
statement? How do you feel
I
about
don't
that
believe in
statement?
it.
You complete me.
I don't believe in it because that goes back to your question, which is more important, security or freedom.
Mhm.
You say the you complete me. That's where the codependence come into play. In
Mhm.
other words, I'm so dependent that if you don't exist, then I do not find meaning in life. I mean,
Mhm.
that's hogwash actually. I mean, right? I mean, when I enter into a relationship, it's not because the other person completes me. It should be that I am
Mhm.
complete by myself. I have
Yeah.
value, and I choose you because I want to be with you, not because I need you.
Yeah.
And for me, that's where sometimes the problem comes into play. It's so nice to hear that you complete me, but if you really analyze it and you really reflect on it, it's not good. For one, do you want a person so dependent on you that they cannot move without you? What happens to you if that person is your partner, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I mean,
Okay.
that person is gonna hang by your skirt or by your pants, and whatever decision they always confer to you. At first, it may be sweet at first. It's wow,
Mhm.
romantic, but at the end,
Mhm.
it's so irritating
It's a
already. And that's why I
disaster.
choose freedom over security. Yeah, and that's why I choose freedom over security because freedom is I know within bounds this is what I'm allowed to do, and I want that. So I can do
Mhm.
anything I want in the relationship for as long as it does not really destroy the relationship. It
Mhm.
does not destroy the other person. It does not destroy the partnership. So
Mhm.
it's a give and take. So that's why my definition of freedom will be different from the others. Now, I mean, it's freedom for, not freedom from. Hindi siya yung license to do everything. Freedom for me is when I make a decision,
Mhm.
and that sets the parameter for me, and I'm free to do anything within that.
Mhm.
That's why I will
Okay.
opt for freedom,
All right.
not for
Nice.
security.
Nicely said, Alan. Okay, what about you, Ivy? Would you choose
I'm all
security
for
over freedom or freedom over
I'm all
security?
from
And
freedom.
why?
I'm all for freedom because yeah, freedom has its own limitations. It's not absolute freedom. So
Mhm.
I'll just share with you something that I've learned over the years again in my 55 years of existence. Um, there's this anecdote that I will never forget because I remember this whenever someone talks about rights
Mhm.
or talks about
Mhm.
freedom.
Mhm.
Mhm.
There are two passengers in a plane, and the other
Mhm.
one is Filipino, the other one is a foreigner. And
Mhm.
the Filipino tried to recline his seat. So obviously,
Mhm.
Filipinos are quite, vertically challenged compared to foreigners. So he was like, "Oh, this is comfortable. This is okay." So he reclined his seat, and he was comfortable. He was comfortably seated, and then there's this foreigner. Of course, obviously, he's vertically better. He's vertical, not
Mhm.
better, but vertically advantaged.
Mhm.
Let me put it that way. Of course, he's taller and stuff like that. So he reclined his seat, and then of course the seat hit the knees of the Filipino right behind him.
Mhm.
And so the Filipino told him, "Sir, excuse me, you're hitting my knees. Um, can you push? Can you pull back your seat a little for a little bit so that my knees won't get hurt?"
Mhm.
And so the foreigner was saying, "Well, that's my right. I have the right to recline my seat."
Mhm.
And then the Filipino said, "Your freedom ends where somebody's freedom begins," which is pretty nice. I think
Mhm.
we should know where our limits begin and end. We should know where our freedoms um, begin and end. And so I would choose freedom, because when you're free, when you know your limitations, obviously you can also create security. But in security, it doesn't always, you can't always have freedom. For example, putting it in a practical scenario, yes, you may be secured. For example, you have job security, but that doesn't mean
Mhm.
that you have freedom to do a lot of things, because when you have a job, that entails a lot of boundaries and stuff like that, which somehow affects your freedom to do other things aside from your job. So I think that that's pretty much how I see things. But some people may probably look at it differently. But
Mhm.
that's it for me.
Nice. All right. So there's another question here. And she says, when do you know you've had enough in a relationship,
Compass.
in an abusive relationship? Because sometimes people can take it. Sometimes people prefer to stay. But when is it actually, you know, Alan and Ivy? What do you think?
Um,
You know,
well, you
you
will
know,
know it, I
it's going.
think.
I think, guys, for those of you, my friends who are watching, please feel free to type in your comments to, your answers to these questions, because I think this is a very relevant topic. A lot of couples have already gone through so much abuse over the pandemic, and it's not a secret anymore. We've been getting a lot of stories here and there that some of them have been physically abused, but they couldn't get out of the relationship because they're scared to be alone, and some are already being psychologically abused, but they just don't know what to do. They don't know how to get out. So I think our audience is very much capable of helping us in coming up with answers here. So yeah, so what do you think, Alan? When do you know you've had
You know,
enough? I think it's very hard for
like
you
the
to
other.
imagine because
Yeah, because
you're in a pretty stable relationship, right?
yeah,
And so is
that's why it's
Ivy,
a
but
bit
Ivy,
challenging. Mm. Well,
you're
I've
very
only had one
serious.
relationship now, so it's kind of difficult. I never had the chance to be
Yeah.
in an abusive relationship, so it's gonna be difficult. So whatever answer I give is going to be theoretical.
Mhm.
So
Right. So we
yeah,
can
so
put
so
some theory behind Ivy's practical comments, I think, right? So, Ivy, what do you
mm,
think?
Yeah, I will go back to the compass. Like, you would know if you've already had enough. But some people are just pushing their boundaries too hard.
Mm-hmm.
Again, going back to, I can't speak for every other culture, but I can speak for our very own culture, that
Mm-hmm.
we're kind of pushing our boundaries too much. Even though we
Yeah.
cannot take it anymore, we still try to, make kiss and make up. We're still trying to do all these things. But again, if you're a man or a woman suffering from abuse, you will know that
Mm-hmm.
you've already had enough when you believe that you're already debilitated, or you cannot function anymore in your
Mm-hmm.
in your normal or in your usual behavior and things like that. And if you're already let's say physically, mentally tortured, like you cannot function mentally anymore, I think that's the time that you have to you have to recognize that it's already time for you to leave the relationship. Yeah, in one of my previous
Mm.
relationships, I was actually controlled to on what to wear,
mm,
on
Right.
yeah,
not to wear
no,
this, not to
nowadays,
wear
yeah,
that. And
yeah,
at first it was like, it was nakakakilig, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
mm,
that mushy stuff that girls are, oh, that's cute. He's so concerned about me. But
mm.
eventually you
Can
will
relate to one.
realize me. Yeah, eventually I realized that, hey, I pretty much I pretty much dispose all of my clothes just to please this guy. I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
Mm, right.
my
Oh
clothes are
no,
my
that's
expression, my
terrible.
my form of
Yeah.
self-expression. Who on earth are you
Yeah.
to decide for me? This is my body, this is my choice. I wear
Mm-hmm.
whatever I want for as long as it does not violate anybody else's
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
rights, right? I mean, I can
Right.
wear whatever I want because I used to,
Mm-hmm.
when in my 20s, I used to wear skimpy dresses, and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, of course, I'm younger, I can wear whatever I
Mm-hmm.
want, but even actually that particular relationship actually like gave me some terrible experience about what to wear and what not to wear, so it pretty
Mm-hmm.
much influenced some of the clothes that I wear after that relationship. And then
Mm-hmm.
eventually I realized that, hey, I have to get my power back. Nobody has the
Yeah,
right to dictate what I want to wear.
true.
I mean, even if I'm wearing
Exactly.
skimpy
Yeah.
clothes, you don't have any right to tell me what to wear,
Mm-hmm.
in the same manner that I will not
Mm-hmm.
dictate you what to wear, right? So
So I
even though
think,
it's as
yeah.
simple as that,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Right.
already some form of mental torture, because every time I get out of my house, I will like, am I wearing the right clothes? Right? So
So,
yeah.
Ivy, are you saying that this is a form of control, right? If somebody wants
Yeah.
to exercise control on somebody in a relationship, then obviously that's already abuse. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you know that what we're hearing from Ivy and Alan tonight they're sharing with us a lot of valuable information here. Because again, most of the people that we know probably in our lives cannot speak out, they cannot say something, they cannot voice out their situations because there's this stigma sometimes of abuse, right? People think that, oh, I don't want to say something because people might treat me differently, or my friends will probably laugh at me, or maybe my family will blame me for being in this situation. So guys, please do not be worried, just speak out. All right. And Miro here, Miro's love says, if you're free, then you also feel safe. Absolutely, I agree with this. I agree, absolutely agree. Yeah, so it's so important, guys. Yeah, to value yourself. I think that's the blueprint of everything. You need to really learn to love yourself, respect yourself, and later on you can expect other people to treat you the same way. Okay, so
Yeah. Begins from
um,
within.
okay, so then, Alan, Ivy, do you have any parting words to share with our audience tonight? I know this is supposed to be an after, like an after party, right? Like for behind the scenes, but it turned out to be a full blown discussion on abuse and relationships and love and freedom and
And I wonder
security.
why.
Well, we can't help it.
Well,
Maybe we should have a segment called unscripted.
Mm,
yeah.
yeah,
Unscripted, because
exactly.
seriously, guys, we actually came out of a very very structured
And
conversation in our
yeah.
official official Facebook page,
I
and then it
know.
suddenly shifted
Yeah.
to
And it's if
but
Maybe.
there are so many people out there who still want a serious conversation. Especially, we're not only
Mhm,
appealing to our Filipino
mhm.
audience, we're actually appealing to a global audience. So if you
Exactly.
believe that this conversation may actually help other people who are
Mhm.
probably in that relationship, maybe you can share
Well,
this
yeah,
video.
just to let you know, we
Yeah.
have viewers
Yeah.
now from the United States, from Croatia, from Italy, from the Philippines, from the UK, and
Everyone.
from oh no, yeah, Australia as well. So it's very late in Australia now, but yeah. So thank you
Oh,
guys for
thank
Well,
you.
watching. So what's your parting? What are your parting words to all
well,
those who are
for
suffering
me,
silently? I think it's very important. Just a
well, that's
second.
kind
So
of
hold on,
difficult.
hold on, hold on, hold on.
Mm,
Sharon
mm,
says,
mm.
hindi pa nagsisink in sa... No, Sharon, come on. Ivy is joking, all right? She's not
I'm the
50.
one. I'm the
She
one that's
is not
55
50.
years.
That's not fair. That's making me feel terrible now. If you're saying she's
So
50,
Sharon,
then that makes me what? That
yeah.
makes me 60.
No,
So
it's an
Sharon,
inside
that's
joke,
the
Sharon's
way
not
me.
Sharon.
50. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sharon, she's
It's
Yeah,
not
an inside joke.
yeah, it's an
I'm the
inside
because
one
joke.
who was 55
I'm
years.
the youngest. Because I'm the youngest in the
Yeah.
team, I think. Am I still the record holder? So I'm the youngest in the team, and most of
No, Donna
our
is. Oh, no, are you? Yeah,
Donna,
I
Donna
think
is
you
Donna.
are. No, no, no. Hang
Anyway,
on. Anyway,
and
no, I
then
think
most
so I'm
Ivy's
the
yeah, and
one
then
who
I
55.
think
is.
this this started with a joke. Like they would always call me the oldest in the group because
Mhm.
I always talk
Yeah, we
like
would
this.
be the young. We
Yeah. So
would be the
Sharon, don't
younger
feel
ones.
so
But
bad.
actually, yeah. So, so Sharon, actually, I am the one who is 55 years now in this world. So it's not her.
So funny. Okay, so parting words. Come on, guys. What can you say to our viewers who are probably suffering silently and who would know what to do? What would be the first step? Who should they reach out to? And what should they do?
But for me, two things now. First, you really have to recognize your value. Uh, you have value. You have value. So don't you ever forget that. That is the
Yeah.
first step. And
Mm-hmm.
second one, go get help. It could be your parent, it could be professional help,
Mm-hmm.
but go get help because
Yeah.
it's difficult fixing this on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Good if your partner is willing to talk to you about it, but what if
Mm-hmm.
he or she isn't? So you need to
Yeah.
go get help. So recognize
Okay.
your value, go get help.
All right.
Now, for
Mm-hmm.
those who are just entering into a relationship, that is the importance of really praying
Mm-hmm.
about it, really getting to know the person. Be
That's
proactive.
true.
Don't let the other person sweep you off your
Mm-hmm.
feet and then you discover later, I entered into a bad relationship. That's why it
Mm-hmm.
That's
takes time.
true.
You really have to spend time and all that, diba? And that gives you more knowledge. You enter into the relationship more intelligently, more maturely, so
Mm-hmm.
to speak. So,
Yeah.
so if you're in
Okay.
it already, recognize your value, go get help. If you are about to enter a relationship, then really think hard about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because,
Okay.
you know, supposedly, hashtag may forever, supposedly.
Because
So
there are
you
supposed to
better
be
choose
red flags then,
very well.
kasi. Diba
Yeah,
there are
there are
supposed to
red
be
flags. There
red
gotta be red
flags. I
flags.
mean, at the beginning of a relationship, you
Yeah.
already can see that this person is trying to control you, what you should wear,
Yes.
what you should
Especially the
say,
control,
who you should
especially the
be
control
hanging
part.
out
Like
with.
yes,
Oo.
yeah.
Correct.
Diba? Kasi
Especially
abuse
the
is like
control part.
abuses they try to abusers actually try to isolate you eh. Diba? They don't want you to be
Yeah.
close to family and friends. They don't want you to have
Mm.
access to money or anything like that. So we
And
have
then
to
they
be careful,
manipulate you,
guys.
and
They're
yeah.
very manipulative, control freaks. They insult you. They say nasty things to make you feel bad and
But
for you to doubt your worth. So we just have to be really
they
careful.
usually
Okay.
yes, but they
Okay.
usually
Go
are
ahead.
very charming, huh? But
Yeah,
they're
they
usually
can be
very
very,
charming. Also, that's why you
very
should take care.
charismatic, very charming. Exactly. So, Ivy, what about you? What's your message
Ivy,
to the
yeah.
abusers?
No.
So, guys,
No,
if
I
you're
can't.
watching, hold on,
Magbagong
because
loob na kayo.
no, seriously, this is a fantastic platform
Ivy,
for this because we're all, talking about how the abused should get out of an abusive relationship. Now, let's talk to the abusers. Because I'm sure one of you guys one of those abusers out there will somehow, cross paths with this episode. And what's your message, Ivy? Are you a feminist? Would you consider yourself a feminist?
Yes, strong
Okay,
feminist.
okay. Alan is only is a supporter of Gabriela, right, Alan? Anyway, okay. So
I believe
Ivy,
in human rights.
okay, Ivy, go. What's your
Okay,
message to the
Ivy, go,
abuser?
Ivy.
Wait,
Whether
women's rights
physical
or
abuse
human
or
rights?
Sabi
that's
ni
another
Ivy, oh.
Okay,
great topic. Okay, so what's your
here's
message?
the feminist in me.
Yeah,
Okay, first and foremost, I think
like
I would
talk to
like to
them, talk to them,
highlight.
talk to them. Abuser,
I would first talk to the ones who are in an abusive relationship, the ones who are the victims.
the
Let me tell
victims.
you
Yeah.
this, guys, these are called red flags for a reason. Please do not make them confettis, okay? Kasi we've already seen the red flags and yet we are just so blinded by the charm. Come on, don't make it as a confetti. Okay, there's a reason why they're called red flags. Okay. Um, yeah, I've been there, done that. Okay, so
Mhm.
okay to the abusers,
Welcome to
to
the
the
club.
abusers. Okay, so to the abusers, okay, guys, this has nothing to do with you being a bad person or a good person. This is something to do with what do you really believe in? Like, if you believe that you deserve to be happy, or if you believe that you deserve to have a good life, stop doing bad things to other people. And again, we do not judge people. We look at the behavior, and we do try our best to help you guys out. If you are an abuser and you want to get out of that, if you want to get out of the cycle, you can actually send us a message. I mean, you can also be anonymous and send us an email if you need help, because sometimes you don't also know that you
Yeah.
are an abuser,
Yeah.
right? I mean, let's give justice naman to the abusers. Sometimes they don't even know that that's their label, right? That they don't
And
even
they
know.
will
Just
never
like in the
admit it.
same,
They won't admit
and
it
they
at
will never
all.
admit it.
No.
But again, I've always believed that people always have a good side to them. I mean, no matter how bad the world gets, I always believe that people have a good side to them, and that will never go away.
Mhm.
So look
Mhm.
for that good, look for that good part of you that you need to look at, that you need to look for. Maybe you can look harder because sometimes it can get hard to, it can get really difficult or challenging to look for the good in you, but you have to look for the good. And if you
Mhm.
believe that this relationship, if you believe that you're not happy in this relationship, stop making other people unhappy. Although, yeah, I totally believe that hurt people. So that's that's what one of my friends said
Mhm.
about people hurting people. Only hurt people will hurt people, because happy
Mhm.
people don't go around hurting people. So if you're unhappy with your life, you have to find happiness. And if you cannot find it in that relationship, then maybe you can leave, right? In the same manner that we are also telling the other person, right, to leave the relationship, you can actually leave the
Yeah.
relationship,
Mhm.
right? So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
again, this is not us judging people
Mhm.
who are abusing other
Abusive.
people, but you have to, you know you are doing the right or wrong thing. There's I
Mhm.
don't believe that people don't know what they're doing. I really don't
Mhm.
believe that. Even if you're passed out drunk, I know that you're still aware what you're doing. It's just that you
Mhm.
have less control over it. So yeah, so that would be
Okay.
it from my
Nice, nice message. And Alan, do you have any message to all our
That's it.
not abusers but viewers, or abusive viewers, viewers? Go.
So, well, since we were talking,
Abusive
since
viewers
we were
talaga.
talking about, yeah. So since we were talking about relationship, we started with love, diba? So
From
let's
love to
have,
domestic violence.
yeah. So let's have a healthy definition of what love is, no? Kasi
Mm-hmm.
when
Right.
when you meet when you meet the right person, you know, you also be the right person for that somebody. Kasi when
correct.
you're able to work it out, when you're able to work it out, relationships are really, really very, very pleasant. It's like heaven on earth.
Mm-hmm.
If you truly work it out, that doesn't mean there will be
Yeah,
no struggles. I mean, financial struggles. You will have your misunderstandings.
Mm-hmm.
COVID struggles.
There may even be major, yeah, there may even be major bumps along the way.
Yeah.
But if you have a clear understanding of what the design of marriage is, of what true love is,
Mm-hmm.
helping each other grow to become the best versions of yourself,
Yeah.
it's going to be very, very, it's going to be heaven on earth.
Yeah.
So do
Okay.
work at it. Choose your partner well, in other words, and work at it.
Okay. Thank you,
That's
Alan. And
true.
Ivy, you've mentioned that you were in an abusive relationship before, correct? Is that correct?
Yeah, but I'm very, what's this? I'm highly aware. Like, I know the red
Mhm.
flags when I see one. So
Okay.
not really,
All
not
right.
really that much. Like, it didn't get worse because I only stay for like what, a month, and then that's it.
Okay.
Because the
Okay.
first
All
time
right.
he tried to raise his hand, I already like, nope, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not gonna tolerate this.
Ah,
I've never been hurt in my family. Not a single, not any
Mm-hmm.
guy can do this to me. Not anyone
Mm-hmm.
for that matter. So
Mm-hmm. Okay. All
yeah.
right. Thank you very much. And I guess my message to everyone watching, this was not planned. We were just planning to party after the other podcast, but we ended up talking about something very interesting. And we'd like to thank, of course, our viewers, Chana, my cousin. Hi, Chans. Hi, Panga. And also Luis Tamayas saying hello. And
Bye.
to everyone who has joined us tonight, thank you so much. I guess my only message is, guys, learn to love yourself, okay? Because the lack of self love is actually going to be the reason why you're never ever gonna even want to look at the realities in front of you. Love
That's
yourself,
true.
value yourself. And number two, as what Ivy and Alan said, if you already see some red flags, just be careful. Don't get into it. Sometimes it's very tempting, no? When people are very sweet and very charming, we think that that's already the your forever, you know. So it's not necessarily true. And number three, there's always life outside that abusive relationship, because I personally have been in an abusive relationship. I'm saying that out now, okay? So you guys may not have known this, but yes, I was. That's why I'm single now, right? So if why are you laughing, Alan? Okay, but seriously, why? Because yes, this is already the time for you guys to speak out. Because if not, there's this stigma kasi that people say, "Oh, I don't
Time's
want to
up.
say anything," right? I don't want to say anything. I'm shy. You know, my friends might laugh at me. But guys, you know what? There's life after that, and it's a fantastic life. You know, you have the freedom to choose. You are special. You are not some
You,
dust or dirt that people can just,
yeah.
treat terribly. So it
You
is
are
gonna
not
be
your
you.
relationship.
Yeah, but a lot of people think that, oh, I'm marupok, I have to be in a relationship for me to be complete. A relationship is just a result of two complete people being together. Then there's a relationship. You don't expect the relationship to
That's
complete
true.
two incomplete people. All right. So otherwise, it's going to be terrible. Okay, let me just read some of the comments. Oh my God. Wow. I'm blown away by the comments. Great topic, according to Sheila. Thank you, Sheila. Ang gagaling po nyo po talagang lahat. Thank you. And
Thank
look at this.
you.
Oh my God, this is such a wow. Grace says, enjoy the pain. I mean it in a good way. Acknowledge that you are hurting because you'll definitely learn from it. And when you love a person, you cannot expect that it will be perfect. Every relationship is different, but communication, compromise, and really understanding is important. But if it really doesn't work, get out of it as early as possible and as early as you
Oh,
can before you lose yourself.
so true.
Absolutely. Agree, Grace. Thank you so much for sharing
Agree,
that one.
100%.
100%. Get out. A lot of people
You are
don't
not a
want to get
tree.
out because people have learned to be comfortable in pain. Guys, pain is, you weren't born in this world just to suffer all your life. Come on, wake up, okay? You really need to value yourself. Do not settle. If it's not good for you, if the relationship is not good for you, if you're crying every night, if you find yourself stalking your boyfriend or your husband's phone or your ex, whatever, it's not healthy. Okay? So please value
That's
yourself. Life is too
true.
short. Life is too short, right, Ivy? It's too short.
Yes,
Okay.
life's too
So
short to be unhappy.
exactly. All right. So if guys you don't have any other questions, we're gonna wrap up because we were planning on oh here. Okay. There you go. Sharon again says, agree with Alan and oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Exactly. Agreed,
Yes,
Sharon.
that's true.
Okay.
And
So
also, I don't
there.
like Jerry Maguire movie. To set things straight, I really don't like it. I think I've had a very traumatic experience watching it. I don't like it. So I
Okay.
never really knew that the "You Complete Me" verse is coming from that movie.
Okay.
So I didn't
So I
I
think
didn't finish
this
it.
is, guys, again, um please reach out to somebody, and the three of us are here. If you need somebody to talk to, we're here. I
Yeah,
personally experienced it. Ivy personally experienced it. Alan didn't experience it, but he has the theories to help you at least overcome this suffering, or this plight that you're in. Okay, so with that, Sharon, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm so proud of you tonight. Oh, thank you, Sharon. Love you. And
thank you.
Sharon, by the way, I'm gonna invite you as a guest soon, okay? In one of my episodes. This is just a very informal one that I'm doing with my team right now. We're just having fun, but I'm going to definitely invite you, okay? Please say yes in this chat box right now because I'm gonna invite you.
Yes.
And of course, dear Miro from Croatia says, so nice messages from all of you. Thank you so much for watching, Miro. Thanks for
Thank
joining us.
you.
Yeah, so guys, take care, stay safe, value yourself, and abusers out there, chill lang kayo. Just chill. All right, relax. Don't be too controlling. Life is good. All right. Okay, so thank you very much and good night. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.